Hi, I'm Beth Jacobson, and I'm here with,
Pam Lathrop.
and we're here today at the Beloit Public Library filming the October edition of the Beloit Today show. And we have three guests today. First, I will interview our city clerk, Rebecca Hausman, and she's going to tell us about some of the changes that we have in redistricting and then also the new voter ID law. And then Pam will be here.
I'm going to be talking to Vicki Hahn, and she's going to be telling us about the Friends at Beloit Library, the Fable Group, and the volunteer work that they do. And okay, tear me away from the books.
And then finally, I'll interview Shauna El Amin, and she's going to tell us about a program that they have at the high school. It's for Haiti, and it's called Kids Against Hunger. I think that's right. If I'm wrong, Shauna will correct us. So stay tuned, and we hope that you learn a lot today. Good morning. I'm here with Rebecca Hausman, and Rebecca's our city clerk, and she's here today to talk about some of the changes that we have with both voting redistricting and with the new voter ID bill. So let's start with redistricting is behind us. Can you tell us how often do we redistrict, first of all?
We redistrict every 10 years after the 10-year census, and that's to reflect shifts and changes in populations.
And I understand there's been a lot of actual shifting in Wisconsin, and so what happens is the census information is distributed, and then what happens? Does it start at the state level, or does it start at the local level?
It used to start at the local level and then go to the county and then go to the state. The state passed a law this summer that changed the process from a bottom-up process to a top-down process. So the state actually redistricted their Senate and Assembly districts, and then the county did their supervisory districts, and now the city has done their wards.
And so with each step, there's, the state does it, and then the county has 30 or 60 days, and then the same goes for us. So we're sort of in the final stages. We've done several pass-throughs of this, from what I understand.
Right, it is done. The wards behind you are the wards that will be in use for the 2012 election cycle and through 2021.
And from what I understand at our city council meetings is that the wards haven't changed their they've sort of shifted a little bit, but we've renamed or we've renumbered the wards in a different sort of format. And so everyone in Beloit can anticipate a new ward number, but not necessarily a new ward per se in
well,
boundaries.
the boundaries have changed as well. So the numbers and the boundaries have changed. There is a very slim possibility that voters will be voting in their same ward, but like I said, it's very slim. So you really need to look at the new wards and new polling places before you go to vote in February.
And are you in the clerk's office? Are you going to mail stuff to people to let them know what their ward number is? Is that?
Yes, all registered voters will receive a postcard in January or very early February indicating their ward and polling place.
Oh, great. So really, you don't have to do anything unless you lose that postcard or you've moved or something
Right.
after January 1st.
Right, and in the meantime, anybody can call the city clerk's office to know exactly where they vote or exactly what ward they're in. We
Okay.
can provide that information.
And also, the other changes in addition to the wards is the voter ID. And I see this, I read through this pamphlet that is available in the clerk's office and the county clerk's office and libraries.
And on the website.
And on our website. And I understand there's several changes. So I understand there's 5. Let's just kind of go through them slowly. The first thing is the name of it is the photo part. Now you have to, when you go to vote, you have to actually have a photo on your ID. And can you talk about that a little bit?
The photo ID law requires you to show a certain form of identification before you get a ballot, and that it's several different acceptable forms. One is your Wisconsin driver's license, or Wisconsin ID, or U.S. passport, or military ID. And other forms of acceptable ID include an ID card for a Wisconsin Indian tribe, a certificate of naturalization that's not more than 2 years old, an unexpired driver's license or Wisconsin ID receipt, or a college ID with a photo, signature, an issuance date, and an expiration date, along with proof of enrollment.
Oh my gosh. So basically, if you don't have an ID that has your photo on and you want to vote, then you need to do that. soon.
Right. There are a couple forms of ID that are acceptable that don't have photos on them. But if you don't have a driver's license or a passport or any of the other forms of ID that I mentioned, I would definitely go to the DMV as soon as possible to obtain a voter ID. And the voter ID is free, but there are documents that you need to bring in order to get that. And I do have a checklist that you can obtain on the city's website or at the city clerk's office that will walk you through the documents you need.
So if anyone doesn't have one and they don't have a license or they don't fit into this category, you can talk to the clerk's office. They'll tell you the checklist. You can go to the DMV. It's, obviously it's a little bit of paperwork, but then you'll be certified. Now, the other change that I was reading is about signing the ballot. That's new this year. You actually have to sign that you're voting or that you have voted.
You have to sign the poll book. So when you check in, you will say your name and your address, and you'll show your ID, and you'll also sign the poll book before you get a ballot.
Okay, that seems pretty standard.
You sign your name. If an individual is illiterate, they can make their mark that they've used for official documents in the past, or if somebody is disabled, they're exempt. But the poll worker would have to write exempt at that space.
Okay, and then what's the other change I have is it's about voter registry, is that?
Right. Voter registration, the requirements have changed. Prior to this, you were required to live in your home, your ward, for 10 days. It's now changed to 28 days.
Okay.
Okay, some other changes are that cooperators may no longer be used. And a cooperator was somebody who would, a registered voter who would verify that you live at that address. So that's not allowed anymore. You need to prove, if registering on election day, you need to prove residency. You may still register at the polling place on election day and in the clerk's office anytime until the Friday before the election at 5 p.m.
Okay, so we don't encourage anyone to take that long, but if you do,
Right.
That's what you need. And then what do you need to indicate that you are, is it a bill, is it a utilities bill or something to indicate that your residency?
Right, you could use your ID, if your ID has your correct address on it, your driver's license or ID, or a bank statement, government document, a utility bill that has your name and address on it.
Okay, so pretty standard things that you would have if you approved your address.
Right.
Now, are there, the other change I saw was there's no straight ticket voting, and is there other things that?
Yeah, there's a few other changes, including, straight party voting has been eliminated for everyone except military and overseas voters. The absentee requests by mail require you to provide a copy of the voter ID, of your ID with that request.
Okay.
Also, absentee voting, you may vote absentee in the clerk's office 2 weeks before the election, and that ends now Friday before the election. It used to end Monday, the day right before the election, but now it's Friday. And a photo ID is required for absentee voting as well.
Okay, and in Wisconsin, we don't call it early voting, but you can absentee, essentially, if you are going to be out of the area on the day of the election, you could absentee vote in advance to still be counted.
Correct. We are not you don't need a reason to absentee vote. You can come into the clerk's office and vote if you will be out of town or if it's inconvenient to go to the polling place on that day.
So we anticipate there's going to be some big elections next year in 2012.
Yes, there will be. We're scheduled 4 elections right now, but that could change depending on if there are any recalls or any other special elections.
So based on the number of elections, Rebecca and her office are going to be very busy in the next year. So please be patient and be polite. Right. And if you do have questions, you can go to our website, which is www.ci.beloit.wi.us. And you can call the office, and we hope that everyone does vote. So please make sure you're registered and you have your ID so that you're not calling Rebecca last minute because they're going to be very busy. And,
right.
And thanks for coming, Rebecca.
Thank you very much, Beth.
Today we're at the Beloit Public Library. I'm with Vicki Hahn, who is the Public Services Librarian. Did I get that right? Thanks for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
One of Vicky's job duties is to work with the Friends of the Beloit Library, a volunteer group, and she's going to tell us a little bit today about the duties of that group and how they help the library keep running. So, how many hours a week does this group work for the library?
They work quite a number of hours now. At the old library, they did the biannual book sale twice a year, spring and fall, helping the Topical Review Club. And when we were able to build the new library, they decided to have an ongoing book sale. So we have added all these wooden shelves here. There's 40 of them. And so last year, which is just more than a year than we were here, they worked an average of 27 hours a week. This year, so far, they work an average of 43 hours a week. We've gotten a lot more volunteers. We need a lot more.
This is fabulous. Part of the reason, too, we're talking about this group is that it's going to be National Friends of the Libraries Week, the week of October 16th. And I know that the group here is part of a larger American library group, right?
Yes, that's the LTAF. It's a special group that includes the Friends and other agencies that help work with libraries, trustees, etc. So they have sort of an official hat as the American Library Association, but it's very, very much so local. They decide what to do, what to help fund for the library, what to give to the library. And
so they have a little bit of guidance.
yes, they have helps. They get a newsletter from that group, from the American Library Association, and with helps and articles to encourage them and just kind of help them know what the laws are and what they can do and what they can't do.
Is there ever books then that they reject when you're talking about laws? Do they reject certain books? Can they do that?
I suppose they can. There's not so much about the law that they would reject, but they'd like to have books in good condition that somebody would want to buy at the ongoing book sale. This is one of the most popular stops in the library. The first week we were here, I was extremely surprised. Here's all this great facility with a fireplace in the periodicals room and all these nice new spaces to look at, and there was crowds around these shelves.
I'm generally there too, so I understand completely. The books are wonderful and they are shelved beautifully. This group deserves a lot of credit. I know that there are a lot of other things that they do in addition to just taking care of this book sale.
Yes, they have an annual meeting for their group, and you can join. Here is the brochure that you could join. And then while I'm just showing you this, here's if somebody wants to volunteer, there's a volunteer opportunities form that they can fill out, and I get that to the Friends group.
And where is that available?
That's in the brochure racks just right by the hallway, by the bathrooms. Okay. There is the many, many things they've done through the years. They were formed in 1978, I believe, and they have funded many things at the libraries. They funded our very first children's game computers in the children's area. They have their main focus has been the summer library clubs to get children excited about reading during the summer, and it's also for adults and teens. They fund the Reel to Reel, which is the adult movies. That's movies for adults.
And that's something fairly new, isn't it?
Yes, that's done this year, and it's, I believe, once a month on Wednesdays. There's brochures on that. But it is international films, so it opens up some things that we've always done a lot of different kinds of films, but it gives us another outlet, and then they're shown here, and then once they're shown, then we get to add them to our collection.
I think we might miss the one in October, but I know that one is from Israel.
Yes, there's different countries. Some of them are in English, some of them have subtitles, so just interesting to see the different cultures. But the Friends group very much so feels that it is important to add to the experience for library users, to enhance what we have available for them. They've done many things for the Bookleggers group, which is a group of volunteers that go to the schools, to the third grades, and in the Beloit School District, and they take a bag of books with them. There's 4 different titles in there. They talk about the books, get the children excited about reading them, and then they check them out to the books to the children right there, and then they go back again next month. So the Friends Group supplied that. They've supplied some things like a starter collection of flash drives, headphones, and then book bags so that customers or patrons can go ahead and buy those here at the library and have the convenience of having it right here.
Well, we certainly want to thank all those volunteers that are in the Fable group and certainly encourage people, again, to join the group. If you have questions, you can contact Vicki. She's at the library. She'll give you her phone number.
It's 608-364-5756, or you can just call the general reference desk phone number, and they know where to find me, and they will get that to me. I want to point out a couple other things that the Friends Group is planning for this year. One is every 2 weeks over here there's some special book carts that they have topical collections, and right now it's history books. So they focus on a particular topic, and we do have quite a number of children's books available right now. That's not always the case, but if you're looking for books for your children just to come by, there's some here. And then at Christmas, they also have a very special cart. They've held back some gift books, and they bind together with ribbons in a nice package some paperbacks. So they make very wonderful gifts for your family. What else was I going to say? Oh, and there's a big book sale. They're going to have an annual book sale. They did last year in April. They're going to have another annual book sale this April. It'll be a Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday. And Saturday, they usually do a bag of books for a lower price. So I think they're going to still plan on that, as well as the ongoing book sale.
Wonderful. So we're going to have to come back and interview you again, like in March. Okay. And we'll talk about that sale again. But I want to thank you very much for being with us on the show today and encourage people, if you'd like to get involved, please stop by the library or just give Vicki a call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm here with Shauna El Amin, and Shauna works for the City of Beloit and the GBEDC, which stands for the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation, and that's a mouthful. Shauna's here today to talk about a program that the GBEDC is working on with the school district, and I understand that you're working, I'll let you explain everyone's names, but essentially what the school district is going to be doing is putting together care packages for people in Haiti. So first of all, Shauna, who are you working with at the school district for this program?
Well, John Kaminsky is the assistant principal at Beloit Memorial High School, and then John Wong is with Kids Against Hunger, the Rock County Rotary Division.
And so they've worked, I know they've done this in years past, but they've worked with the students in the past. And this year it's for Haiti, and last year they did a similar program, is that?
Yes, and that one was for Cameroon, Africa, and that one packaged 285,000 meals.
So what day is the event going to take place this year?
It's going to be on October 26th at the high school starting at 8 a.m., and we're going to try to package 300,000 meals.
300,000 meals. Yes. And it's all-day event?
As long as it takes, they said about 1 o'clock, they hope.
So if residents were interested in volunteering, what would they have to do? Or do you take donations, or how does this program work?
We're actually collecting money for the event as well, but we're also wanting people to come and show up that day. John Kaminsky can be reached at Beloit Memorial High School, and then he would put you down as a volunteer for the time slot that you can work.
And you can volunteer for as much or as little time as you can fit into your work schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
Yeah, if you can only go for a few hours. Last year we did have a few people. It was on a weekday again last year, so sometimes with work schedules people can only do like 2 or 3 hours, and that's completely fine.
So I've seen some students wearing these shirts, and it sounds like that's their primary fundraising to pay for the care packages. Can you tell me about the shirts, what they say, and then where we could buy shirts?
Sure. It's Kids Against Hunger for Haiti this year. Last year it was for Cameroon, Africa. This year's are $10, and you can get them at Beloit Memorial High School. If you just walk in the front door, the receptionist can direct you to where you can buy one. Otherwise, the kids are going around to different events, and they will be talking to different businesses, making presentations to them, trying to get larger donations as well.
So the GBEDC, you're working with them on fundraising, or what exactly is your role in this event?
We're just helping promote it. We do give to the organization as well. Every year we try to give as much as we can. So our board will be making a donation as well.
And can you speak to the student participation? I heard Mr. Kaminsky speak recently, and he was sort of explaining that last year they did it and they were kind of feeling accomplished, like, oh, this is over, this really big project is finally over, and then it sounds like it gained a lot of momentum quickly to do it again. And he's really said that the students are the people that are pushing this. And so can you speak to that a little bit?
Yep. Last year we had between 600 and 800 students come to the event, and they gave up a day off school to go to this. So this year we're actually up to about 1,200 students that want to go to the event, which means we need less volunteers from the community, but that's still an important role that we need as well.
And if someone views this and they're kind of thinking about it and they're not really sure where to get information, can you tell us where they could find more information on this on a website maybe?
The School District of Beloit's website, under Parents and Events, it's on the calendar for October 26th, so you can click on that and it'll give you a big snippet of it, and it'll also have John Kaminsky's information on there as well.
Well, thank you, Shauna. I think this is a great program, and I personally heard, about the students and how excited they were for it. So if you want to volunteer, you can do that. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty packed field house, but if you want to donate or buy a shirt, please work with the school district. I do know that you'll have to show IDs and stuff if you go to the school district, so please keep that in mind when you go to the high school. And we look forward to hearing more about how many packages they put together, and apparently doing it again maybe next year.
Probably.
Well, thank you, Shauna. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up the October show, but there are still a few little things that we need to say and people we want to thank today.
Yes, well, as always, we'd like to thank, the people that are helping shoot today, and also our staff for letting us interview them and share all their hard work with the city of Beloit.
And you interviewed Shauna Elamine, who's a co-worker, and she's a great speaker for the Hunger for Haiti group.
Yes, and just a reminder, that is on October 26th. So if you're interested, please, it's a really great program. Please look into it and see what you can do.
Speaking of hunger, Halloween is coming up, and I know that little children are hungry for treats. And we just wanted to tell our viewers the trick-or-treat hours.
Right. I think it's a Monday. October 31st is a Monday, and the trick-or-treat hours are from 5 to 7 p.m. So when they get home from school, change their clothes, and just be patient with families as they prepare their dinners.
And as always, practice safe driving and dress the children in reflective outfits, things that will keep the children safe and have a happy Halloween.
Sure. And do you want to talk about our other guests today?
Well, we do, of course, want to thank Vicki Hahn, and we want to thank Rebecca Hausman for being on the show, along with Shauna. Obviously, we couldn't do the show without them, and thank you again to all the volunteers with the Fable Group.
And please be prepared for voting next year. Shauna is preparing for up to 4 elections, so get your voter ID, get registered. If you're moving, please be prepared, especially people that move often. I'm talking to students. Please make sure that you're prepared for the election. There's several very important elections coming up, and Rebecca's doing the best she can. We're going to get as much information out on websites as we can, but please do your part. We want everyone to have a voice in each election.
Well, thank you for tuning in, and that wraps up another show. Thanks, Beth.
Thanks, Pam.